The flashers on the Ford 1700 tractor have not been working for a bit now. They actually were working a little bit intermittently before that. I've tried to troubleshoot it and I can't find anything other than the flasher unit itself that seems to be the issue. If you go to a New Holland dealer and ask them to get the part, they can look it up and it is not available. In fact, my dealer said, oh, what they did is they replaced that with some other module and it's like $100 and you gotta rewire it and rewire the harness and the whole 9 yards, which is absurd in my opinion. So I'm looking into other options. Let's get the flasher unit out and see what might be able to work in its place. For reference here, this is our fuel tank. This is the dash, operator seat back there. So as you're sitting in the operator seat, this is toward the right-hand side of the dash. That's the switch to turn on the flashers. Headlight switch is over there on the other side. And here is our flasher unit itself. The wires are connected on the bottom. And then we've got a screw here going to this nut. This is a 10mm nut. So let's go ahead and take this off. I've had this off before because I redid the steering on this tractor. So I can probably get this just with the socket, but if not, you got to get a right angle screwdriver or something to be able to stick in there to hold that in place. With a small 1/4-inch drive, I can just get the socket on there without pulling the fuel tank, which is kind of nice. All right. So screw, and it's a nut and a lock washer. So here's the flasher unit. Let's undo those 2 wires. This back one here goes to the switch and the lights, and this one is the power coming in. Okay. Basic little 2-prong flasher unit. So here's the flasher unit out of the tractor. It is a Niles HF501 12-volt flasher unit, variable load, heavy duty, made in Japan. And it's just the common 2-prong configuration. You can see the L, which goes to the switch, and the X, which is your power in. I did some searching online and this flasher looks very much like a Nissan or Datsun flasher unit from the same period of time, 1979 to early 1980s. Can't get one of those anymore, but I went down to Napa and this is a basic thermal flasher which has the same configuration on the prongs here. This is the model 552, and because this is a thermal flasher, it was only $4.49. So if this works to get the flashers going, it won't mount via the screw hole. I'll have to zip tie it in. But if it works for those lights, that is an inexpensive way to get them working for safety around the road. So let's go ahead and hook this up and see what we get. As we look at this unit, this is kind of the orientation that the old one was in there. The prong back here goes to the green wire, which goes to the switch and the lights. That's the L prong here. And then the other one is the X prong that takes the black wire, which is from the power supply. So, getting in here, the tricky thing is that power supply wire is the one that does not have the slack in it, or much slack in it. So we'll get that black wire on there. And then, oops, here we go. There's a lot more play in the green wire here from the switch. So let's get that prong in there. Okay. I'll just set that there. We'll go ahead and give it a test, and if everything works out, I'll figure out how to zip tie that in place. Key on. lights. And there we go. So here it is, secured in place. What I did is, this is an 8-inch zip tie. I fed it in through the hole where the original screw was. Then I looped it back through the hole, because it turns out that the thick part of the zip tie is too thick to go through the hole. So that'll actually hold there. And I just created the loop, looped it around the flasher unit, and pulled it tight. And so now it's in there pretty secure. At least I'm not worried about it really going anywhere. Worst thing that could happen is it tries to drop down and slip out of that loop. But I think there's enough friction there, and I think it's tight enough that that won't happen. So for a Ford 1500, 1700 like this tractor, or the 1900, seems like the Napa 552 thermal flasher will work and replace the original flasher unit on the tractor if it fails. No need to buy the new unit and rewire the tractor with some new module from New Holland.